What if the seller wants out of the contract? What's up, guys? Zach in here.
Rick in here.
And in today's video, we're going to break down exactly what to do if your seller wants to back out of the contract, how you can protect yourself for the deal, exactly the steps you need to take for wholesaling real estate when it comes to protecting your contract, and exactly how to make the most money in wholesaling real estate. So before we get into it, guys, before we share you the exact steps to take, do us a favor and smash the like button and subscribe. And let's get into it. Let's talk about it. If a seller, let's say you have the property under contract and you get a call from the seller, you get that scary call. I went out of the contract. I went out. I want to get out of here, and then you could potentially lose the deal. That's never good, right?
It's definitely not good.
And what I've seen is most of this can be avoided by doing the right things before. So hopefully everyone watching this is not a situation you're in right now. We're going to tell you what happens if you're in the situation right now, what to save it. But a big fundamental warning, if you do the steps that we mentioned to avoid it in the beginning, it'll help you so much. You'd rather be protected and actually do the things with the seller, but when you get under contract to make sure this doesn't happen than trying to save the entire deal and save face, right?
Most of the time when a seller is getting out, it's because you didn't answer one of their questions and they weren't comfortable with it. It happens. It happens to everybody. Nobody's immune to it. What you need to do is it's a two-step approach. You need to learn how to be proactive to set up the conversations to solve all the seller's concerns and refortify that you have a legitimate deal. And then number two, when it does happen, you need to know the exact steps you need to take to rectify the problem and hopefully save the deal. The main thing is just do not panic. If you panic, they're going to panic and it becomes very hostile and it's going to doom your deal. So listen to us. We'll share the strategies and hopefully help you prevent from this.
So number one, if this is happening to you, do not be screaming. Don't get angry and aggressive with the seller and say, hey, I'm going to sue you. I'm going to attack you. Rah, 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 rah. That's never the good stuff. So let's kind of break everything down. So how did you get to this situation? In our personal opinion, there's 3 reasons why a seller wants to back out of the contract. And if you understand which one of these reasons it is, you can figure out what to do. Now, reason one, and probably one of the biggest ones to overcome is money, right? Like most sellers, hey, they're greedy. They're human beings. I get it. Not everyone's perfect. And a lot of sellers think that, hey, just because another wholesaler offered me extra $1,000, I can just get out of that one and I make $1,000 extra. And the truth is, when another wholesaler goes offer more money than you have under contract, they usually have never seen the property. They're not legit wholesaler. They probably don't even have a cash buyer and they're trying to ruin your deal. So number one is the seller just wants more money and there's plenty of remedies for that.
That's what we call FOMO, the fear of missing out. Other wholesalers and other buyers, the minute Zach writes a contract or I write a contract, it's like an instant permission slip for them to write a contract and go, listen, I'll just offer you a little bit more. It's kind of a cheat sheet and they're manipulating the situation and that's what happens with it. Now, if you don't write a contract, they'll never write a contract. So because you took the initial action, you took the risk to write the contract, all of a sudden, all these people come out of the woodwork, the neighbors, parents, everybody.
A lot of people are jealous.
Correct.
So if you've ever watched Seinfeld, when Costanza had the ring, everyone at the party knew he was off the market, right?
Yeah.
He was already locked up. And then everyone started talking to him and he was great, right? It's kind of like that to a point. It's like once you get the deal locked up, now other hosts says, wait, I was talking to that seller. And then they didn't want to do it because they thought, the price is too high. But now that someone locked it up, quote unquote, someone put a ring on that deal, now everyone wants it.
It just once the action takes place, everybody comes out of the woodwork.
They get jealous.
The wholesalers and other ones like that. The ones you kind of have to watch for, it's like neighbors and friends and family. Number one, they'll never buy the house. I've never ever had them buy the house. They just want the opportunity to buy it. And they just feel a little jaded because I've had a relationship with this person for 20 years and you come in here in one day and you take this opportunity away from me. So they're kind of sabotaging your deal. So if you understand this technique, you understand the psychology and you can walk through your seller's mind and try to reiterate why they're selling you the property in the first place.
That's the truth. So exactly. What do you do with the seller wants too much money? Again, this is what you've been teaching everyone, but you go to the seller, right? And you say, hey, we already have an agreement in place. We signed an agreement to sell the property. I made a commitment. You made the commitment. We already had the agreement. And then you kind of break down exactly why do you want more money? Is this something that you need more money? And I think this kind of goes back to your classic line is it's what the property can afford, right?
Yeah. The tip on this is they typically call you to try to back out 9 out of 10 times. Hey, listen, I want to get out of the contract. Now, the information they're going to give you is from the person trying to buy the house. And they're typically being coached on what to say exactly.
Yes. And they're never going to mention money. You're going to have to dive deeper into it.
Correct.
They're going to say once you think, oh, you never followed up with me. No, that if you go to the nitty gritty, all about money.
Yeah. Don't panic when they call you. You cannot react.
Yeah.
You just calmly say, hey, Zach, what's going on? And just ask a simple question. And before you get deep into it, just say, listen, let me come by. Let's talk. Let me go over what's holding you up or what your concern is and see what we do. Do not try to save that deal on the phone unless you don't have a choice. It's a virtual deal. But if you're in the local market, you can do it. I'm telling you, that belly-to-belly conversation, you will get the truth, and you can use the nonverbal cues and tell what's going on, because you're going to need every clue you can, because you get one shot to save this deal. And if you can do it in person, it's so much more effective. Listen, if a couple wants to break up, the easiest way is people break up on the phone or text. To do it in person, it's painful.
Oh yeah.
And you need to use this strategy to your advantage. People don't like to let you down, especially when they signed a legal document with you. I try to get in my car, either myself, the acquisitions person, get over there and get belly to belly with them to find out what the truth is. And a lot of times when you're belly to belly, they'll say, listen, this guy offered me $5,000 more. If you give me $5,000 more, I'll go with you. And that's where you're going to explain to them.
Think about it though for a second. Like, you got, like, we've been like this before. Like, we're making $80K in a deal.
Yeah.
Are you really going to let $5K destroy your deal? Because some sellers, that's everything to them. Sometimes, like, I hate to say this, like, oh, don't negotiate with, someone that's bad, right? I get that to a point, but like, if it's just giving $5K out of like a $50,000 deal, it's better than getting the whole thing blown up, right? Because you say this so many times and it's truth. There's one thing getting it locked up, and there's another thing actually going out here and getting the seller to sign the deed away for the property.
And go to the closing. So guys, there's the contract, which is critically important. Some of you get so excited and then you don't spend any energy, and then you got to understand, you got to get them at the closing table. And if they have any type of regrets or concerns, somebody offers them more money, you have to bridge that gap. When you have to work with them, most of the time, if you can settle them down, and then you have to make a financial decision. If you're making 50 or 100 grand, the $5,000 ain't going to kill you. But no matter what I give, if it's $500 or $10,000, Mr. Seller, if I go ahead and decide to pick this up, can we re-solidify this deal and knowing 100% like you're all in? Like, this is it. There's nothing else. And then what I'll actually have them do is re-sign a contract and recertify, because it's mental. Now, guys, you don't always have to give money. Little things like, hey, what if I just go ahead and paid your closing costs and I'll move the closing up a week? Maybe it doesn't cost you $5,000 to do it that way. You have to typically give something when you're in this position. If you just do this, we have a legal agreement and I'm going to enforce it and you don't have a choice, I'm just telling you, man, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt bad. Yeah. Try to reason with them, give them something, acknowledge them, reaffirm your deal, and make sure you're completely locked down on it. And sometimes it's not always money. And if you have an unethical person offering them more money, you got to recertify that you're still the best buyer for it. If you have to renegotiate a little bit, make a business decision and decide from there. But like that, when you do that standoff, like you've signed a legal agreement and you have another option, you have a 50-50 shot if that's ever going to stick.
The number 2 reason why a seller wants to back out of a deal, not because of money, but because trust has been broken between you and the seller. Maybe the seller got skittish, they got scared, they don't trust that you can actually buy it. This happens all the time. And number one thing is, like, first of all, you don't follow up with the seller at all. We tell you to follow up with the seller at least once a week, right? If you're not doing that, they're going to get skittish, right? And number 2 is, like, if title company never reaches out to them, they might think it's a scam. By our title company, I always make sure that the title company reaches out to our sellers like the day we have it locked up or the day after, because you have to build that trust, because that seller, once they get a call from that title company, oh shoot, this is legit, right?
Oh, yeah.
I'm telling you.
So you guys have to involve your title company. So when you send over the contract, make sure all your contracts should have the seller's name and their phone number. And if there's an email, I'd like to put it right below it on there, or just title your headline with it, and make sure they reach out to them within an hour or two of you sending them that contract. And do not let your title company off on the hook. It's brutally important. And plus, they need all the time to get ahead of it, to make sure the title's clean. They get it, if there's a mortgage, to get it pay off. If there's any code violations, any tenant, guys, the title company is what is going to build. So if you've never done a deal before and you're like, okay, I got it under contract, you need to have that title company call right away. And they're the ones who are going to automatically vouch for you. So it's, oh, you did a contract with Rick. We love him. He's great. You're going to love working with him. The seller goes, oh, okay. They've had somebody reaffirm, like, hey, this is, because before that, you were the only contact to them. They're like, and the neighbor goes, man, that guy sounds a little sketchy. Yeah. He's like an investor. I looked him up online. I'm not sure he's legit. And when the title company calls and they're like, yeah, he's legit, they go, no, the title company calls, said the contract's legit. They're right. And that shuts them up. Without it, that third party endorsement, that could jeopardize your deal. So if you guys aren't instituting using your title company the day of the contract, you're missing the boat. If the title company contacts them that day, it will save most of your headaches, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's honestly something I've seen all the time and something everyone should be implementing. Also, like, go to your title company, grab a bunch of cards and just like staple it to the contract or give the card with it. So just in case title company doesn't reach out, at least they have their number if they call for questions. And another thing they break trust is they have questions, they don't get it answered from you. What if they have a title question and you can't answer it? Here's the phone number on the card of the title company. Like, most title companies have tons of cards they love giving out, right? And they'll be ecstatic of you giving your cards out. So have that with you, explain that, you know, Josie's going to be your agent or whatever. She's going to help you out. You know, that's going to help a lot. Another reason why trust might be broken is, like we said, a bad wholesaler or real estate agent or neighbors in their ear saying, oh, that person's a scam artist, they're not good or whatever. Guys, be straight up with them. Say, hey, I'm ready to buy the property, title company, everything's set. That should help you out. Now, 3, and the last one, this is one that's the hardest, and this is kind of like your ethical conundrum, right? Let's say, for example, hey, the seller has a change of heart. Hey, I want to live in this house. I want to stay here. I've lived here for like 40, 50 years. Now, this is where most wholesalers, you could do the affidavit. You could have a right to go after this person, but like, they're like 70, 80 years old and they've lived in the house for 40 years and they changed their mind. They're kind of scared to move out. Don't be that person to make them forced to leave, right? Like, the problem is a lot of people say, I want to stay in the house and live in it, but really it's money underneath it. If you can like legit know that it's really, they just want to stay, you're going to be fine. But that's usually the last reason why someone, because they just want to stay where they're at. And you got to figure it out.
I know there's a lot of information on the internet. I just go out and record a affidavit of memorandum. And all that is a technique. If you have a legal dispute on the property, you cloud the title. I'm telling you right now, that has to be your extreme last resort. You have to be hurt from it. You can't just record it because somebody doesn't close. I'm here to tell you, I have people, not all the time, but it does happen occasionally. So they get under contract, they don't completely think about where they're going to go, and they go out and try to price out houses or even rentals, and they're like in sticker shock. And they come back and, Rick, there's no way I can do this. Now, I'm not going to go out and find it for them because I'm not a realtor, but I'm going to keep following up with them. I said, let's give it a little time, maybe give them some connections. But at the end of the day, if they want to keep that property, you understand, to force them to close, they're going to go to the closing table, it's going to cost you a fortune. And honestly, you're going to have to stand in front of a judge and say, they don't have a place to go. You're probably not going to fare well. So I'm just telling you, instead of like hitting them, I'm going to record this legal document, talk them through it. Think about this. If they were your parents and they wanted to move, but they went out and got sticker shock and then they wanted to stay, would you expect a wholesaler to sue them to move out of the house? And how would that fare in front of a judge? It's not a realistic expectation. Guys, if you do enough deals, it will happen. But what I want to do is save face, so when they are ready to sell it, I'm the person they think of, and I'm going to put them up in my follow-up database. You don't win them all, guys. You just don't.
So at the end of the day, like, you could do that affidavit equitable interest. I've had $80,000 deals where wholesalers try to steal it. Yes, the affidavit makes sense, of course. So your option is you could file it. Make sure you have a legal right to the contract. You have to have your EMD. A lot of these, if you want to have a legal right to this deal, you need at least some EMD. Like, that's going to help you protect you. Even if it's $100, this is going to give you a right to like make sure you can actually go to court and protect your deal if you have to. Just the affidavit, unless you can legit show that you're ready to go and you actually have the funds or a cash buyer, you should be fine. So that's what we recommend. At least have your EMD set there. Remember, if a wholesaler is trying to steal your deal, the best thing to do is have an affidavit of equitable interest, or the seller's trying to be a liar, shady, something like that. That might be an option for you. Again, we're not lawyers, CPA, tax professionals, advisors, so take it up with you, your title company, your own lawyer with this. And then the last and most important thing, like, how do you save these deals, right? And the best thing to do is just talk to the seller. Like, I'm telling you, like, most of these blow-ups, if you just go meet the seller in person, you could probably save it. Like, it's not worth it. Don't be like, oh God, I'm just doing an affidavit. Like, go meet with the seller, have a conversation, and then do something drastic, right? Because you could save these deals by just having a face-to-face conversation.
Anytime you can get in front of them, but they're people, and the more you can connect with them, find out what went awry, and see if you can rectify it and reassure them. I save most of the deals just by meeting them in person and say, you know, John, Joe, Jane, what's changed? And they'll just roll over. They'll say, listen, I spoke to my neighbor. They said you're ripping me off and I don't feel fair. I go, well, and then we kind of walk through it. The neighbor's not a qualified buyer for that property, and you don't want to make the repairs, and you want to relocate and live close to your sister, and you want to get it done by the end of the month. And so I reassure them why we do it this way. And we talked about it. You could have put it on the market. You could have done the repairs. This will take 6 months, and you don't know the outcome, and you don't want any strangers walking in your home. I thought we agreed this was the best. I thought you agreed this was the best outcome for you. What's changed? Well, my neighbor said I could get more. You can list it for more, but you're
Yeah.
not going to. So you just have to walk them through the basics. And remember, they told you their pain points. Just bring them back in the conversation and see if anything changed with it. And hopefully you can save the deal. But by direct communication, the best way, threatening lawyers and doing all this stuff, guys, when you cloud the title and do an affidavit of interest, and if you do that, make sure you have a lawyer on your side. You run the risk of being countersued for defamation of title, meaning if you don't have the ability to close on it, you did not perfect your earnest money deposit, and your contract is not completely legit, they can sue you for damages on it, and it can be painful.
But it could save your deal. So if you have your EMD, you're doing this business the right way, yes, do the affidavit. But if you're doing it wrong, you didn't do the EMD, you're lying to your seller, do not be clouding title. And honestly, it's up to you which one you're going to do. We do a lot of affidavits every year because we have a lot of people trying to steal our deals.
Yeah.
Again, like once you run into the big scaling operations, you're going to deal with it almost on like a monthly or weekly basis. So just understand that. And the last thing we want to talk about really quick is just have ethics and morals. Like if it's like a 90-year-old seller, they want to get out of it, do not be like, just let him out. Like I just,
you have no grounds
yeah,
to like stop that deal. You will never ever get a judge to make you enforce that contract.
yeah, maybe it's legal, but like I'm just telling you, like do the ethical thing, like have ethics for first and foremost. There's a difference between something being legal and ethical. Do what's ethical, and everyone's like, what's ethical, what's not? Would you be okay if someone did this to your mother? And honestly, that's the way you have to look at it, or your grandmother, right? Yeah. Would you conduct your business the same way you do it if you're buying your grandmother's house, right? And that's kind of the baseline I kind of look at things, you know? Just that's the way how I figure out if it's legal or ethical. Like make sure it's ethical, do that. And honestly, that's what I do. Guys, do not panic. You have plenty of options. And remember, we're always here to help. Like we personally answer your YouTube comments one-on-one personally from us. So again, if you have questions, comment them below. Hop on our Wednesday and Thursday one-on-one calls at Wholesaling House for the Mastermind on the Facebook group. Our link's in there. Talk to us one-on-one. We're here to help you out. Like how many people have we helped one-on-one on the Facebook group on the one-on-one calls, and we've saved the entire deal absolutely for free? I mean, so many.
It's endless.
Right?
And guys, having somebody back out of a contract just means you're getting more proficient at what you're doing. It's going to happen to you.
Yeah.
It's not if, it's just when. And it is a huge panic moment. If anything I can do with this video, if I prepare you for it, all you need to do is like rationally, like if one of your kids or your spouse or your boyfriend or girlfriend has a change of heart of like something you had said on, what do? I sit down and talk to them and find out what's changed. And the sooner you can cover that gap, the greater the chance of you saving the deal. So do not let 4 days go by when they call you, because they will literally shut you down and you'll never see them again. You've got to get to them within 24 hours, preferably within 6 hours, to try to rectify that deal and see what's going on.
Exactly. So guys, do us a favor. Don't panic. Relax. You got this. We're always here to help. Remember, if you're not having your deal stolen from another wholesaler, you're probably not doing enough deals. Let's get it going. Let's scale it up to there, and we're here to help you. So do us a big favor and smash that like button and subscribe. Get the most free value from us. Check out freewholesaling.com, the greatest wholesaling real estate course, the most by members, and it's absolutely for free. So this is Zach signing out.
Rick signing out.
Thank you guys so much. Have a blessed one. We'll see you soon.